Hello, my darlings! I'm April Sunshine, but once upon a time I was April Survive. Now I am back to get you by the hand and bring you to the sunshine with me. We're going to be talking today about, so you want to date an ace person? This is going to be a fun one. I tried to stick to information that is only relevant to people who are looking at dating an ace partner, but I put a little bonus in there for you in case you'd like some information to take with you no matter who you decide to date. So no matter who you are, you'll get some goodness out of this video. So let's get started. The first thing I want you to think about if you're really thinking about dating an ace partner is this question right here. How would you feel if I told you you will never have sex again for the rest of your life? Never. Now, we are assuming that you are looking for a lasting, committed relationship with this ace partner. Keep that in mind. But I do need you to really think about that question and feel what you felt in your heart when I said that to you. If you felt something like panic or dismay, an ace partner might not be the choice for you, because just like somebody who is straight or gay or bi, this is something that is going to stay and continue to affect your relationship. I need you to understand that. It's very important, and it's not going anywhere. They're not going to magically learn how to feel a desire for you. It's just not something that they were born with. The same way a gay woman was not born with the ability to feel sexual attraction toward men, okay? Nothing is going to change that. Or they may have less attraction. So let's say you're dating a gray ace. That means that their sexual attraction is significantly less than most of the population. So rather than never having sex again, it could be very, very rare. Think about that. Would you be okay with that? The only kind of exception here is demi. Demisexuals are gray aces who are able to develop sexual attraction only with somebody that they really trust and know very well. And if you're in a relationship with someone like that, I'm like that, they could get to the point where their sex drive is so high that you can't even tell they're ace anymore. You don't even recognize it. Like they're wanting connection with you multiple times a week. Okay? But keep in mind that it's not like with a person who is allo. With a person who is allo, they can have desire for you just by looking at you. Like just like looking at your body, seeing how nice it looks. They're able to feel that just by looking at you, right? With somebody who is ace, a demi for instance, they have to feel a connection with you. And so you're going to have to do a lot more foreplay. You're going to have to be more of the romantic type. You have to look into like specific ways that you can cultivate and keep that interest going, because it's not going to be enough even if you are just the hottest person on earth, even if they think that you're just absolutely beautiful. You've got a six-pack, you're tall, you're whatever. All that stuff that like the mainstream tells you, oh yeah, that'll have people drooling over you. That's not true with an ace. It's just not true. Okay, so if your partner is demi, you're going to need to talk to them and see what it is that turns them on, that unlocks that. It's kind of like unlocking a box. But the great thing about it is once it is unlocked and once you know how to do it, life gets a lot easier, right? If you're the type of person who is interested in having sex in your relationship. You may not even care. You may not want that. Maybe you're ace yourself, right? So that's the first thing I need you to think about. And that's the first thing I need you to talk to your partner about, okay? None of this works if you guys don't have great communication. All relationships require great communication. So after watching this video, be sure to go to your partner and let them know, this is how much intimate contact I need to feel happy and satisfied in a relationship, okay? Make sure that's very clear so that they know, and then they'll know if they can meet your needs or not, because at the end of the day, that's what relationships are about. We need to be able to meet each other's needs. And if you guys are not a match there, The next thing to think about is, are you willing to shift into a platonic friendship? Would you be okay with just being friends, with just being emotional support for each other, just being in each other's lives? In some cases, you realize that you're not a match with somebody, but you can wind up being best friends with them. And in the future, they meet a new person, or they realize they have a friend who's a perfect match for you. So I strongly recommend this. If you meet somebody and you find out that their sexuality doesn't match with yours, keep them as a friend. Because then they can become your wingman. This is the mistake that a lot of people make, especially men. They don't realize that they should remain friends with people who they tried to date. If you first met somebody and your intention was to date them, and then you realize, well, I guess we're not compatible, remain friends. I strongly recommend it, because later on you can ask them, hey, do you have any single friends? Once you're at the point of your relationship where it's not going to hurt anybody's feelings, or they might even recommend it themselves. I'm like that with some of my exes. If I met somebody and I thought that they were a good match, I'd be like, hey, you might like my ex, because I understand the only reason that I'm not with my ex is because we had irreconcilable differences. Sometimes that happens, and that's okay. You can still be friends, and you can still help each other out. You still want each other to have a good life. That's the thing. When you really care about someone, when you genuinely love them, you still want them to have a good life, whether or not you're the person that they're sleeping with. I do not know why some people find that so difficult, but a lot of us are still that kind of person. I know for a fact that I am that kind of person, and so I would encourage you to keep them as your friends so that you can have those kind of doors open up to you in the future. Big picture thinking, okay? Abundance thinking is how you're going to have a healthy relationship. Now, let's say you've determined that your sexual needs match. Next, you're going to look into, are you the type to kiss and tell? And I say this because some aces they don't really want to talk about things like that. Like, they don't want you to have conversations about it. Like, they don't want you to tell stories about specific things that you've done. They don't want to imagine sexual acts in their heads. They think it's kind of icky. It's just not their cup of tea. They'd rather not. And so it's important for you to know whether you're the type of person who wants to have those conversations. If you want to talk about the most recent exciting erotic video you watched, or the erotic story that you read. If you like talking about things like that, I'm the type of person who loves talking about things like that. I like to talk about kink and all this fun stuff, fun implements, things like that. And so if I'm in a relationship with somebody, that's probably going to pop out of my mouth at some point. So I need to let my partner know, hey, I'm the type of person who does talk about things like that. Is that okay with you? Is that going to be a deal breaker? Is that going to make you uncomfortable? Because for some ace people, they really do not want to hear about that stuff. And so it's important for us to know what they're comfortable with so that we can make sure that we don't accidentally make them uncomfortable, in their own home. We don't want that, okay? So go ahead and have that conversation with them. Let them tell you, what is their comfort level with talking about sex-related topics. They could be like me and be like, heck yeah, I love that stuff. I want to hear about it. Or they could just be like, yeah, I'd rather not. It's different if you're talking about you and me versus if you're telling a story or just talking about a topic in general. You know what I mean? So it is important to be able to talk about you and me. That can be very critical. But for other stuff, it might be highly optional. And so you don't want to make them uncomfortable by talking about it if you don't need to, right? Next, think about whether or not you want romance. Because ace people can differ based on whether or not they want romance. Some of them are aromantic as well as asexual. And so they don't care for romance. They don't care for the sappy stuff. They don't want you writing them poems or whatever. So think about that. Is that important to you? Is that an absolute necessity? For a person like me, that's an absolute necessity. I absolutely love romance. And if I were in a relationship with someone who was not romantic, it would not work out because my needs wouldn't be getting met. So you need to get honest with yourself and ask yourself, is romance a need for you? For many people it is. For some people it's not. And so you need to talk to your ace partner and let them know, hey, the whole romance thing, I don't really think I need it, to be honest with you, Or if you do, let them know, because it might not be their thing, it might not be their cup of tea, or it might be something that they're willing to kind of look into and give it a try. So just talk to them about that, because that is something you need to keep in mind. Some of them may be totally aromantic and really not be comfortable with going into things like that. So you need to know that answer too. Next, are you hoping your partner will change, or hoping that you can fix them? Are you hoping that if you just love them enough and you caress them enough, or you do that special move that you read in that magazine, they're not going to be ace anymore, they're going to be hot for you? No, that's not going to work. Please, for the love of everything good, if you have any kind of ideas like that in your head, cut it out. No, just assume that whatever they tell you, however ace they are, however disinterested they are in sexual acts, that will last forever. And I also need you to assume that it counts for all sexual acts. Of course, you do have to talk to your partner and make sure that this is true. But not just full blown going at it, but also things that you do with just your mouth or just your hands. They might be not interested in any of that stuff. Okay, so keep in mind that people like that do exist. We do exist. They might not want any of that stuff. So when they say that they're ace, they mean with everything. They don't want your private parts touching any part of their body, okay? So be ready for that to be a possibility, and talk to your partner and ask them specifically, first of all, are you okay with talking about sex-related topics? Okay, now what about you and me? If we were in a relationship, would you need me to do this particular act? Would you be willing to do this particular act to me? So just get really clear. And that kind of leads me to the last point, which I put, it's a bonus because it's for absolutely everybody. I strongly recommend this. If you are serious about your relationship, you want it to be lasting and you want it to be healthy, I strongly recommend that you set up some kind of weekly meeting so that you can get together with your partner and talk about things that are related to your relationship. Basically just a teamwork meeting. We are a team. We're partners in life. What could we talk about that maybe popped up during the week? A challenge that popped up for you, a worry that popped up for you. Let's talk about that and work that out. Because if you have weekly meetings, then that means that things don't get put under the rug and start building up, because that happens to the best people. They get busy with work, they have to do this, they have to do that. Life is very, very busy. And so if we don't purposely, intentionally make time to meet with our partners so that we can keep on top of what's in their heart, what they've been worried about, or then that stuff will build up and it can start to cause resentment, and it could end the relationship. It can totally ruin your relationship. So think about that. Think about, maybe you guys could just go to dinner every Friday and chat over dinner. Maybe you could play video games together, whatever you guys want to do together while you're having your meeting. Or maybe you're the type of people that want to be looking directly in each other's eyes and doing nothing but talking to each other about your relationship. If you're that type of person, go for it. That's so super healthy. It's so super good for you. And lastly, I want to warn you guys, this is very serious. This is very, very important. There's a word that pops into my head that I can't even say on YouTube because it is so egregious. It's so bad. If your partner does not have much of a sex drive, it's very, very important that you do not try to push any kind of sexual activity onto them, that you don't try to coerce them, convince them, even if you really love them, you have the best intentions, you just want to show love to this person. Let me try this on you, maybe you'll like it. No, please let them take the lead. Whichever partner has the least sex drive should be the one taking the lead in all sexual matters, because you do not want to make them feel pressured. It is traumatic to be pressured into something like that. It's traumatic. I need you to understand that. It is a crime Some of the things that you can accidentally do to your partner is literally a crime. Me Too is a thing for a reason. So I don't want to scare you, but I do need you to understand that this is very important, and you can cause real trauma to your partner by not being careful in this area. This is a very important area that you need to be really open with communication. You really need to know what your partner is okay with, and I strongly recommend that you allow them to take the lead. There are tips and tricks that I can give you that go deeper into this, like how you might be able to work things out where you don't necessarily have to ask to get your needs met. You know, you can do things like that, because sometimes it gets tiring to have to be the only person that's always trying to start something. You know, we only do intimate things when I approach my partner. It's always on me to have to like ask them, would you be willing to do XYZ? You know, I told people like one way that you can navigate around this is to have a conversation and ask them like, give me a sign. Let's work out a sign where if you're doing this thing, or let's say you're wearing a particular red dress or a particular piece of lingerie or a particular pair of earrings, that's the hint, that's the sign. I'm interested in doing spicy things with you today. So that way you don't have to say a single thing. They can send you that message, and it's just, the door is open. I'm interested in doing this thing today if you want to. And it could be a yes or no. Like, make sure that they know that they can take it or leave it. If you're interested, you can do that particular thing and just have it out there so that if they want to, they can walk through the open door. That's what we want to focus on. We want to give invitations. We don't ever want to be pushy, but we want to open our door and let them know, I'm here to receive you. The door is open for you if you want to engage in that particular bonding activity. I hope that makes sense. I don't want to give you a whole list of like what not to do. I want to give you helpful things for what you could try that makes it easier on both of you and makes it more likely that you'll be engaging in more and more bonding activities, such as having communication or having physical contact. You know, you want to talk to your partner and ask them, what kind of touch are you comfortable with? Let's say you don't want to do anything sexual. You don't want to touch my private parts. Okay, well, what would you like? Are you okay with holding hands? How does that make you feel? What about if I put my hand on your shoulder when you're feeling down? Or if I put my hand on your head and say, good job, that's my good girl. You know, some of us, you know, we really, really like that. Maybe that's even a kink. And that might get the demi side of us awakened. Not saying any names, but some people are really interested in that kind of thing. So just keep communication open and look for what you can do. Keep in mind that, like, it's easy to get stuck in like, oh, because they're ace, I can't do this, I can't do that, I have to be careful about this. But there's a lot of things that you can do. All you need to do is talk to your partner about it. It's just like going on a diet. Don't think about the things that you can't eat. Think about all the wonderful things that you can eat. You know, maybe you can't have that giant chocolate bar, but you can have a bowl of delicious fresh mixed fruit. Yummy, all right? So look at your partner as that. We are all a delicious bowl of mixed fruits. Which ones can I have? Which ones? Because there's so many. There's so many different goodies that you can get a hold of. Relationships are a wonderful thing. Just being in a relationship is like living in a whole different world as compared to somebody who's stuck being single. And I think that you know that. So just keep in mind that, like, just the possibility of being in a relationship with somebody is a wonderful privilege, and I'm very proud of you for researching and looking for healthy, happy ways to go about this. Super proud of you if you made it to the end of this video. That means that you're freaking awesome, and I'm really proud of you. And I hope that your partner knows how lucky they are to have somebody who is dedicated enough to be like researching, finding ways to make them feel comfortable and happy. I hope that this was very informative for you. If you know somebody who could use this information, please share it. I really, really appreciate it whenever you share my stuff around. I love you so much, and I hope that you are getting the love that you deserve. See you next time.